Man, I really appreciate you coming today. I'm just looking forward to seeing what God's going to do through our conversation.
Yeah, definitely. We don't spend a lot of time here together out in Cedartown, but whenever we have, we've always felt welcome. So it's good to be back.
When I met you, I saw someone that would make a difference in people's lives. And I'm just curious, like, what were your thoughts when you met me the first time?
You know, I've been around people that are different from me and no issues with it whatsoever. But there are all these reasons why you believe that you would not connect with a person outside of just being cordial with that person, right? And so you treat everyone you meet with honor, dignity, and respect. And a lot of times that's where relationships begin and end, and it doesn't go any further because in your mind, like, there is nothing else in common or no reason why we should take this a level deeper. You know, I'm a black guy from the inner city of Cincinnati, Ohio, about as urban as you can get. And here's like a white Army Ranger from Rockmart, Georgia. And like that is the polar opposite. And so my thought was, oh, he seems like a nice enough guy, at least cordial, but probably doesn't want much to do with me. And I probably shouldn't desire to have much to do with him. And so we'll meet because we're supposed to meet. Man, couldn't have been anything further from the truth.
I grew up in a very rural Georgia community, and I remember growing up with a bunch of buddies that looked very much like me. I wasn't raised to be a bigot or racist or prejudiced, but I would not have given you the time of day. You know, I went off to the Army, which in my opinion is kind of the perfect melting pot. You consciously have to make a decision like, am I willing to fight for and potentially die for the person next to me, regardless of color of skin or religion or whatever. I had a black roommate at West Point. It was just so foreign to me until I got to just spend time with him and get to know him and like, oh yeah, he's a real person like me, yeah. You know? Because of my experience and what God brought me through, I was prepared and I was postured to receive you in love and friendship, regardless of your color or race or ethnicity.
You know, my background is that of someone who was raised in a way where trust got you in trouble, or you were taught to be skeptical. You know, I grew up in the inner city. My mom had me at 15 years old. My dad was nowhere around. So that combination of teen pregnancy and lack of fatherhood usually equates to poverty and living in an impoverished environment. And in those environments, people are doing whatever they can do and have to do to get by. And so you always have to have your head on the swivel and your guard up and operating really from a place of trusting others is almost being seen as being naive. You know, I don't remember us being like, you know, using terminology or slurs, but I tell you, we had our stereotypes, right? Like, you know, they can't play ball like we play ball, or they don't do, like, it was just this idea of that paradigm was being chipped away at, and God was showing me something slowly different than what I thought was the right way to be.
You build bridges of relationships that can bear the weight of truth. And I think the truth that we're ultimately trying to get to here is that we are all human. And the love that God has shown me is how I'm able to love others. It's in that I'm able to love you and truly love you. But it's that relationship, that bridge of relationship that brings that truth.
Thank you. And I know you love me, man. Just, you know, I always tell people love is a verb. And I just think about the acts of love that you show towards me and my family. And I've never had to like compromise my identity as a black man in order to connect with you. And you've never had to try to be something different than who you were to connect with me. I think the changing of that narrative, the they to we experience, for you started in the military, for me started in high school, and those slow experiences allowed us to be able to meet each other in a different place than where we started off. So I became a Chick-Fil-A operator because of your friendship and your support, encouragement, and your advocacy. So when I got to Chick-Fil-A, because of our relationship, I chose to lean in. I chose to challenge operators that didn't look anything like me and say, hey, let's talk about diversity. Let's talk about inclusion. Let's talk about why your leadership team looks just like you, as opposed to a reflection of the people you serve. Let me tell you about my friend Zack and like the leaders he's been able to develop. And so our relationship gave me the courage to do that, because you never made it feel like you were giving me like a handout. It was a brotherhood and a partnership. Yeah, so I appreciate that, because it changed my perspective on like, what role do I play and what can I do to actually lean in? I had a really hard conversation with my neighbor 2 nights ago, and I only had it because of the conversations we're having. And I hope he's better because of that conversation. I know I'm better. It went from they across the street to we as neighbors in that conversation.
What do we want to get out of this? What's our hope? Is it tolerance or is it belonging? If we can understand our identity is in Christ, then we can belong to the same tribe. And it's that tribe that will show love and belonging and care to the world, that will ultimately heal and reconcile the division and the divide, which ultimately we know the enemy is behind.
Every conversation is an interaction, and you don't leave interactions unchanged. And so what comes out of it is wisdom, understanding, and that has no choice but to change who you are. And if you're changed, then everything around you changes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Brother, thank you again for coming and spending some time here today. We're open to see where God takes it and what he's going to do with it.